Matchweek 7 in the books. Tottenham, an absolutely controversial, to say the least, victory over Liverpool. Huge result for Tottenham. We'll talk about the ramifications of that game. Man City dropped points at the Molineux. Huge win for Wolves. We'll cover all that was from match day 7, including Man U losing at home to Crystal Palace. This is the Premiership Bruiser Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. The ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Oh, Sammy,
Yes, sir.
what a week we had.
What a
week
week.
the Premier League cooked up.
Absolute full cook.
I would say it was a good meal if I was Todd
Absolutely.
Bowley.
A very medium rare filet
very
mignon.
Decent victory and good week for us
A
Premier
very
League viewers.
decent match week.
Let's get right into it. Start off with a wild one.
Mm-hmm.
Villa Brighton. Coming into this, we didn't fully know what to expect. We knew Villa, we previewed last time on the pod, Villa kind of has Brighton's number
Yes.
for the most part. But I mean, I think one of us predicted draw, one of us predicted
I think I
perhaps
said
even
Brighton.
Brighton win. Yeah, I think I said 2-2. This was anything from that.
I'm
It was
out here looking
relatively
like an
even
idiot.
at certain points, but I tell you what, Aston Villa, Sam, they got it going early. This was the Ollie Watkins explosion.
You know, they did what they did last season, this game, within 15 minutes scoring that first goal. I mean, there was a good chance early on for Brighton. Estupiñán could have changed the game there 6 minutes in.
Yeah,
That one
big
was
chance.
saved, and then 14 minutes in, you got Ollie Watkins open the scoring. Nice move from Matty Cash down the right, getting behind Matoma. The defense there, tough to put Matoma in that position.
Yeah, he's not going to be tracking back, and it's not, the work rate is there. It's just the defensive skills are not quite there.
It was more so that Estupiñán was out of position.
But we found out after the game he's going to be out for at least a month, potentially 2 months now, with an injury. So huge loss for Brighton's defense. He started off and looked pretty shaky his first few games when he started for Brighton, and then ever since then he's been a staple in their lineup, a real solid player. I know a fantasy Premier League favorite for a lot of people.
Yeah, I saw he was like 58% selected. Insane.
Yes,
Insane.
that's. I'm one of the 58. I think you are too.
Actually, no, I'm not.
Really? Maybe that was last year you had him.
Last year I did have him. But
Okay.
anyways, back to the game. Villa don't take much longer to get a second goal. Again, Ollie Watkins this time making a run down to the left, cutting back inside. Gets a shot tucked in at the near post corner. Pretty bad giveaway there from Veltman leading up to that goal.
I don't think. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think Brighton have a clean sheet at all this year, right? In any competition, I'm pretty sure. And if they do,
I
it's
could believe
one.
that.
They don't in the Premier League.
I could believe that.
So
Yeah, I was just going to say their defense looked really shaky in this one. They play the style where they're not very defensive. They put a lot of focus into attack, and at times it leaves them exposed. And this was just like the ultimate, you know, proving point,
Culmination,
the
if
culmination
you
of
will.
that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, and they just looked way off. Everyone was just kind of like out of position at times. The midfield looked really shaky. Not to mention, they started like an 18-year-old in midfield.
Yeah, that was kind of out of nowhere. There's your lineup rotation. Sometimes you get a little too cute, but Jack Hinkelschwood not
Inglewood.
not not cooking
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
So
especially in like a big game like this against a good side like
pretty much a
Villa.
rival in terms of table wise, a rival.
Yeah,
A team competing for Europe. Yeah, very very odd, but hey, you got to get your rotation. This is what happens when you play in the Europa League. Uh, then we have an own goal for Mr. Stupinan.
mm-hmm. That deflected shot there from Diaby. Goes in halftime, 3-0. Hard to come back from this one. But
Yeah, well, Ansu Fati response.
yeah, Ansu Fati getting his
I think
first
I think
goal.
him and João Pedro both got subbed on at half, did they not?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Instant impact.
Yes.
Instant impact.
Yep.
Uh, then after that, it went back to just being all Villa.
Yeah.
There's something interesting that I wanted to bring up was that I don't know, it wasn't the FA. Who was it that said that the first or the goals 2 and 3 for Villa shouldn't have counted?
Hmm.
There's some ruling, some ref ruling that they shouldn't have been allowed. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that, but it didn't really matter because Villa kind of ran away with it for the most part. Obviously, Ramsey adds, or Watkins rather completes the hat trick. And this is from McGinn. Ramsey adds a fifth as Ollie Watkins gets this. There's 4 goal contributions for Ollie Watkins, Sam.
Oh, you're telling me I have him in the Fantasy Premier League team. I
You've been
just had to
waiting on this.
complain last week that my team sucked.
Yes, and he pops off. And then Douglas Luiz on virtually an empty net to seal it. Amazing performance from Villa. It's one of those things where it keeps popping up. They show the like table since Emery took over, and it's Villa's like 4th, I think, or 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
They're only behind I want to say City and like Arsenal.
Yeah. They've been a little inconsistent this year, but this was a great performance. On the other hand, Brighton, terrible result for them. I think it just kind of goes to show that the Premier League is not as simple as it may seem sometimes. You know, you can't just throw in young kids in these tough matches, and I think Deserby kind of needed a little bit of a humbling, and I think he got it in this one.
Yeah, I think the whole Brighton kind of team does in terms of they feel they can kind of get away with doing things like that, but it's their play style. They plug and play. They're super aggressive and they don't apologize about it. But Brighton, yeah, it feels like this popped up once in a while last year. They might lose or drop points last year, but they'd only have like 1 or 2 games I can remember where it was like, oh man, that was really out of nowhere. That was a weird loss.
Like that
But this
Everton
year
one.
it's yeah, this year it's like popping up kind of more frequently, but
Yeah, having to manage the schedule playing in Europe definitely probably plays a role in that, I'd have to say.
apparently Jason Steele did not have a good game today in the whatchamacallit, Europa League.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely hate to see it. Lloyd
yeah,
Christmas.
Lloyd Christmas himself. Let's move on
Yes, sir.
to the South Coast. A little Bournemouth Arsenal action.
Mm-hmm.
Little penalty merchant action out here by Arsenal. Um, let's is there anything that is really catching your eye about the Arsenal lineup these days, Sam? Before we get into this game, is this
Um,
the team that you would roll out for your starting 11?
well, honestly, Eddie Nketiah, he's been kind of poor lately. So, it's hard to say, obviously, with the injuries, with that going on. And then you have the whole Havertz situation, which I'm no Havertz fan. But still,
Oh, that's a lie. You said in the off season that you like a man who has a donkey.
that is true. And then I watched him play for an Arsenal side and changed my mind.
Bad meal.
Bad meal. Yeah, spit that out. Spit take.
Bad meal. Food poisoning. Not wonderful food.
But kind of working around some injuries here. Obviously, Martinelli, the big one. I still feel like Arsenal didn't play very well in this game. Uh, haven't
No,
quite seen
Bournemouth
them
are
at
really
their
going
highest.
through it.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are going through it. When Chelsea comes in and should probably beat you, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean it starts off. Sam was complaining when it was happening live, which was messed up. The Saka and Odegaard popping off because they're on my fantasy team, and Saka starts off with a goal early.
Yeah, getting the tap in after
Yeah,
Gabby Jesus' header hit off the post. And
yeah.
then,
Well, what are you gonna do? Empty net, ready to pounce.
yeah.
I Bournemouth, their setup is just not good right now. Simple as.
Yeah, I don't care for their lineup, honestly.
And it's not changing.
It's
He's
not
not
changing.
changing anything. He's like dead set in his ways. He had Rothwell on the bench this game.
Yeah, I didn't. Kluivert and
I
Tavernier both, I felt,
yeah.
really did nothing. The midfield, Cook, Christie, and Billing just it doesn't work. We know this doesn't work, but for some reason he continues to do that.
Yeah,
And
I
and
feel like
meanwhile, you got a guy like Dango sitting on the bench.
yeah, ready to pounce on the counter and stuff and can create for others. I just I don't see it right now with their setup. And I'm wondering if Mr. Arola has taken over as the top guy on the hot seat.
Well, you know what I call that? I call that karma. Gaz did a wonderful job, kept him
I
up.
feel like this is a good side in Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean
I don't understand.
on paper
Yeah.
it should be pretty good, but it's just not firing. I feel like the play style does not suit the players that they have currently.
Hmm.
They just look like a worse version of themselves last year, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't even really see like a defined play style out of
No,
Iraola. Like I don't know what he's trying to go for here.
I don't either.
So,
Um, well, Odegaard gets a penalty right before halftime to make it 2-0.
mhm.
Second half, Kai Havertz getting a penalty given to him to boost the confidence. He steps up, he slots it. If he misses that, what do you even do? Is he just like
Yeah,
go on vacation?
I was I was thinking the same thing. Like, oh no, this is just gonna end him if he misses.
Hmm.
The charity penalty.
There is there is something weird about, it has to be said. A lot of Arsenal fans were kind of saying, well, Chelsea misused him, as a striker.
Mhm.
And now we see that he doesn't work really as an eight. And now Arsenal fans are kind of be like, well, he should be a center forward or like a false nine. And it's like, well, I don't know. I think you're kind of going through what Chelsea fans did. I just don't know if his style matches the Premier League. I just don't know if it meshes.
It's hard to tell, honestly, whether it's style or just like a complete lack of confidence. Because obviously, I mean, he has like negative confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is something to be said about play style. But for me, it's hard to have that conversation when you have a player that's just so low on confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that we people don't really ever talk about with like the Madison signing, and people are like, "Oh, how could how could you have let this guy go for 40 mil and stuff like that?" And we even said it was ridiculous. Don't get us wrong, but he's a confidence guy too, James Madison. When it wasn't going at Leicester, it really wasn't going, and you're like, oh, this guy's like virtually useless at times.
Well,
But then when it's
not to
going well, it's
mention that it was kind of like the whole team was on his shoulders at that point.
well, no, I just meant even when like they were doing okay and he wasn't looking the best, you're just like, oh, yeah, like 2019 and 2020 and 2021 when he'd have like stretches where he wasn't that great.
Hmm.
But um, you wrap it up with Ben White goal, Odegaard getting he's a garbage time assist.
Yeah, he got you some extra points after I was like, yes, give that penalty to
Oh,
Havertz.
yeah. Sam wants Odegaard sold. Wants him sold. It's confirmed. Sell him.
No, I
You
try
just
not to
want to.
have Arsenal
You would.
players in my team because I feel
You
like it
would
curses
rather
them.
hack my Premier League account and take him out of the team so then you can cheer for him.
Absolutely.
Okay. Finished just 4-0. Good result for Arsenal. Performance wasn't amazing, but it was good enough.
Yeah, problem with this, you got Saka hobbling off.
Well, that's what
Ar
happens when you play him 10
Arteta,
times.
ridiculous not to sub him off sooner after going up 3-0. Arsenal in the Champions League fall to Lens,
And he got hurt again.
and Saka again goes off in that one. So,
Jesus had a very nice goal in that game.
yes. But big match coming up next weekend for Arsenal,
City.
but we will preview that later.
Right?
Moving on to...
Oh, he just ignores me.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, is Pep back for that one, right? It was just a one-game suspension?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, game of the lifetime
Yes,
out here.
game of the century, the Mad Hatters, Everton versus Luton. And you just knew that Everton was going to be the team
Yeah.
to give up the first
we
win to Luton.
I ran it past you last week when I threw the idea out there, especially because they beat Brentford. Then it's like a weight's off your shoulders. It's like, oh, finally we got our win. And then it's like, well, you play Luton, you should probably win this one too. And they're like, no. I mean, right off the bat, Sam, Luton was just looking the better side. I don't understand Goodison right now. Like, okay, so Everton had a good chance for McNeil right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they didn't do anything. And Goodison, after like 6 minutes, was just quiet again. Like, what
Yeah.
is going on? It's like if Everton doesn't possess the ball, their team just their fans are just like quiet. They don't, nothing happens. Dead
Well,
silent.
I don't know if I can blame them. You know, you watch enough Everton, that's what it does to a man. It takes all his soul and leaves him just a husk of a man left.
Something like that.
Yeah,
But,
I thought Everton had the better chances early on. That McNeil chance. James Garner had a good chance on the break, but then curled it just wide of the post. And then it kind of transitioned just to being Luton with the chances
whipping balls in.
Whipping balls in. Good strategy. It pays off 24 minutes in. Carlton Morris, initial header from the corner, comes off the bar. And off of Pickford, falls to Lockyer, who scores a little bit of a
It's such a
crap
weird
goal.
goal because it was like cleared straight ahead by the defender. I don't remember who it was, but it was cleared straight ahead. And it went off Lockyer. He's like coming in for like a slide tackle to block it in.
Yeah, it wasn't the best goals, but they'll take it. And then not long after, some more poor defending from Everton leads to a second goal for Luton. Dottie putting in a set-piece ball to Morris at the back post. Scores with a very nice first-time finish, but completely unmarked. I think it was Mikalenko who didn't mark him.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
I think Luton are kind of establishing themselves as kind of a set-piece team.
This is what we said like 3 podcasts ago. It's like just win some fouls and just swing the ball in the box and hope for the best.
Yes.
Like that's all you can do as a bad team. That's
Mhm.
why it's like when Sheffield is like letting the ball ping around midfield. It's like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to draw 0-0? I don't know what you're trying to do. No, Luton big ups. Carlton Morris. I mean, if Luton go down, which they still probably will, I mean, he gets bought by somebody, right? Like, even though it's just been like a month of play.
I feel like he's the type of guy that someone should buy him, but no one will because he's not like a flashy kind of player.
Yeah. Maybe he gets loaned back up to a Premier League team or something.
Maybe. James Gardner had another chance. I thought he had a poor game in this one. Pretty rough
Yeah,
go.
it's weird because I don't know, he's probably like an out and out 8 to me. Some people might disagree, but I feel like that's what he is naturally. But he like does not have any attack ability for the most part,
Yeah,
like at
his
all. It's
finishing
just
is
not
so
natural.
bad.
It's not natural to him.
He somehow ends up in good spots, but then
Yeah,
after that,
the quality's just not there.
yeah.
To say
Speaking
the
of
least.
quality, 41 minutes in, Calvert-Lewin pulling one back for Everton. Long ball up from Pickford to Anana. The ball falls to Calvert-Lewin, who just kind of bundles it in
Yeah,
before
had
halftime.
to review that one. I was a little confused as far as what was being reviewed and stuff, but yeah, big one to get one back before half, and you're
Mhm.
thinking, oh, Luton, no. Oh, Luton, no.
Yeah,
But
Everton definitely was putting on the pressure before halftime. Going
to
into
say the least.
halftime, 2-1 Luton still ahead. Second half, I like the way that Luton came out, honestly. They came out pretty positive. They were moving the ball, getting the ball forward. They weren't just like, okay, we're sitting back on our 1 goal lead. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games where Everton definitely don't want to be like on the ball, even if it's just swinging balls in and stuff like that, and trying to get goal. Like that is not their style. We know what their style is. It's turn you over in midfield and just have kind of a quick counter from midfield. And that's what they're able to do against Brentford. Not in this one. Luton able to kind of post up and sit back for the most part. Um, yeah, I mean 70, 60, almost 68% possession for Everton. Not keys to success for them, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, as the half went on, it was much more in the Everton favor. There was a big chance for Beto, who came on as a sub, missing the
Hmm.
header from a 6-yard box, and then he had a second chance later on that he
Also, are we at
missed.
the point to where we can finally just start Jack Harrison? Like, why does he have to come on as a sub in the second half?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you. He should
Sean
be
Dyche,
starting.
Sean Dyche, come on, let's get it going here.
Yeah, I have
Finishes
not been
2-1,
impressed.
2-1 Luton, big first dub.
Hmm.
Um, as for Everton, Sam, they're just going to be in the thick of it. We knew it from the start of the year, but
Yeah, you talked about Iraola possibly being on the hot seat.
oh, Mr. Dyche
Sean
is
Dyche, it's gotta be.
he's in yeah, the water's boiling right now. He's and he's getting ready to hop in the pot.
Yeah, and it's weird to say because you feel like he's a safe manager, but so far the way Everton have been playing, it just has not been good enough at all.
No. No, it hasn't. Um, let's move on. Speak of not playing well enough, playing up to standards.
Yeah,
There's a club in Manchester, Sam, and they're going through that right now.
don't call it a crisis, but maybe
That's
call it
the
a
name of the
crisis.
pod. That's the name of the
It-
pod. Put a picture of 10 fraud on as the thumbnail. That's great.
oh, I got
Oh,
a good one. There's a good one.
that is fantastic. Um, yeah, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Uh, I mean, we've talked about United for how many weeks now? Even start of the year, we just didn't have much faith in them. But this game, I just don't know what to tell you with these lineups. I mean, Ten Hag kind of has to get creative.
Hmm.
That's the only thing you can kind of say is you can't fully blame him for that. But also, he has a huge say in who they bring in. But this team, it just doesn't make sense, Sam.
No,
The
not at
midfield
all.
of Casemiro, Mount, Bruno. You're really running a 4-3-3, but you're really not because I don't know. It's virtually a 4-3-3 with Rashford, Palestri on the wings, and then you have Hoyland up top, and they have Amrabat pretty much as like kind of another center back, but not really. I don't know what he was. I thought he'd be a good depth piece for them and for 20 mil or something, but he had a really rough game, Sam.
Yeah, he sure did. Kind of slotting in at that fullback position, it just didn't seem like that was really maybe his best position there because I believe he's
No,
primarily a midfielder.
he's a 6/8
Yeah.
and pretty much just a 6. And some guys can go from the holding midfielder to the fullback role because naturally that's what you would cover. But that's not his cup of tea to just be sitting out there for the most part.
hmm Yeah, but it was United kind of in control to start the match, but they weren't looking super threatening. And then obviously Crystal Palace looking to play on the counter as they like to do. First chance of the game kind of fell to Gahey, had a header go wide, and then just after that, Hoyland had a chance cleared off the line. Those are kind of the big
Yes.
chances early on.
I actually think Hoyland is going to be better than I thought right away. I thought that the style would kind of throw him off, but he's actually played pretty well. I thought Mount actually looked all right in this game for, given what he has been lately for Man U. I thought his play was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, the thing that's been weird to me is seeing Rashford, who's looked like
He got that new contract and it's not, I don't know, it's not really clicking.
he's just such a strange player. How he can be so good, and then all of a sudden he's just like
Unplayable.
unplayable.
Yeah. Yes.
Palace taking the lead 25 minutes in from a set piece. Falls to Anderson for the volley. What a
Yeah,
goal
that was a rip.
for Mr. Joachim Anderson. That was class.
That was a blast.
And if you're Palace, that's exactly what you want to do. I mean, you want to get those set pieces and then get your big guys up there.
Yeah, your best bet is having that say dribble or kind of just throwing it in there, letting your center backs kind of create in some sense, whether it's shots or passing. But yeah, this was quite the goal from Anderson and really kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, allowing Palace to kind of be a bit more defensive because really, I don't think anyone on Palace played particularly well. Jeff Schlupp, I don't know what he did in this game. I don't think he actually did anything. He was unironically Le Cardio man. Like he ran around, and
Yeah,
that was about it.
I think the Will Hughes and Czech Decore midfield was
Yeah,
excellent. I mean, they've been great so far this season. But yeah, it was kind of just like allowing United to beat themselves, really.
yeah, man, you were struggling. Bruno lately has not. It's just not going for him, to say the least. And Casemiro, every single day, is looking more and more washed. Even United fans are like, "Can we sell him to Saudi already?" It's like, oh, jeez.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Bruno. It's like everyone rants and raves about how good he is, but every time I watch him, I'm like, I don't know. I just don't see it anymore.
He just has these. He has stretches of like 6 to 7 games where he really pops off, and then another like 6 or 7 games he'll be fine, and then there's like another stretch of 6 to 7 where he's just not there. It's just the consistency with him is really it keeps falling off year after year after year.
Yeah. Goes into halftime 1-0. Crystal Palace in the lead. Second half, more pressure from United. Sam Johnston coming up with some big saves there. As
Can we talk
United.
about Onana real quick? Even though this game wasn't definitely not one of his glaring issue games, but how I think he's the quintessential transfer for United, where it's like United don't really have like a terrible, terrible problem. It's not a good, like it's an issue. Like De Gea was obviously an issue, but they're dead set on like their fans are like, our owners don't spend, and then they go and buy Onana for 60 mil, which is quite a bit for a keeper.
Yeah.
And they hype him up, and then it doesn't matter because the people around him aren't that great, and then he has blunders, and then it's like, and they're like, well, should we look for a replacement? It's like, well, you just got here. It's like, should we have let De Gea go? It's like, you just need structure around your team and your team to make sense. I saw a thing this week too about like it was when Ajax was playing Dortmund in the Champions League a couple years ago, and they're like, "See, Ten Hag's system does work." It's like, yeah, because he had good players and players together that made sense. This team doesn't make sense.
Yeah, not at all.
That's all it takes. It's just like a team of doesn't have to be the highest quality guys. It just has to be a team that like, oh, we're well balanced and we have all the facets of the game covered, which this United squad does not.
Yeah, it's very, very poorly constructed squad, very unbalanced, terrible player management and recruitment from Ten Hag. Honestly, I'm surprised he's not getting more blame.
I don't understand it. I wonder if it's because he had a good run after the whole Ronaldo and taking care of that, and now, I mean, he's isolated Sancho, and Sancho's never going to play for United again. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, that a lot of that falls on Sancho too. He wasn't very good. He's
For
got to
sure.
buy in somewhat, but I don't fully blame him because I don't think Ten Hag's a great manager either. I think my favorite part of the game was seeing Donny Van de Beek come on. That was probably my favorite part of the game. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is this sub?
it's just
What is this club?
it's
What
just
is
so
it?
peak United. It's like,
It doesn't
what?
even make sense. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and there's just playing like Martial still their best 9.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Palace see their way through. Is there any other thing you wanted to touch on in this game in the second half? I honestly don't even really remember all that much of it. It was very much just bleh.
Yeah, there was just a couple of chances towards the end. Big one at the end was Dalot had a deflected cross that nearly deflected in for the
Yeah.
equalizer. But yeah, overall, United, they're they're kind of like Bournemouth. It's like I don't even know what their play style is. What is United's play style? I don't think there's tactics.
No. No, and that's another thing. Was watching that Ajax Dortmund video. It's like Ajax had like good build up play and momentum in possession. It doesn't look like that with United. It's like super slow out of the back, and the guys aren't as sharp. They're not as connected to each other. It's just,
Yeah.
it's not good.
It doesn't. The play style doesn't look anything different than Ranić or Solskjaer. It's
Yeah.
like the same play style where you have this comfortable possession. Your attack looks pretty weak, and you
This
just
is what happens when your best. It has to come down to personnel, and that's why I think Ten Hag doesn't get as much blame. Because it's at the end of the day, I think most people would be like, "Well, you've had like 4 managers, Bruno. Where are you? Why aren't you showing up? Supposed to be United's best guy."
But
And
it's
it's like,
also like Ten Hag had some say in who he wanted to bring to the club, and
yes, no, I completely agree, but I feel like that's why people give him a pass somewhat, willing to put it on the players. I don't know. People need to just accept he's got out masterclass by Roy Hodgson.
yes,
It is what it is. It happens to the best of us, Sam. Happens to the best of us. Woy ball. It comes for us all.
he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next game.
Speaking of another team that knows what they're doing now, Sam. Remember people were kind of down on Newcastle? We were kind of bouncing the idea around. They're like, well, if Newcastle sucked, and we're just like, no, they just played a bunch of tough teams. Well, now they don't have to play a bunch of tough teams, and they're doing just fine.
They get a feel-good matchup against Burnley, who are pretty bad. They're about as bad as Vincent Kompany wearing a blazer and a baseball
And a
cap. Not a
Why
good
does he
look.
wear the hat?
Well, I
Why
could
does
see
he
why
wear
he
that
wears a hat because he's got a freakishly large
huge?
head, but the blazer, it's like, brother, are you trying to give a freaking speech at a tech conference or something? Like,
Well, you can wear the blazer or the hat. You
yeah,
can't wear both.
you can't wear both.
That's the thing. Burnley actually started pretty well in this game. They had a couple good chances right away.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, Koleosho was cooking, and Dooney, big
yes,
chance early on.
Dooney, Abdooney. Um, but it's Newcastle take the lead because Miggy Almiron is back, Sam. He's back and he's ready to cook.
He sure is. He sure is. I mean, that was
Um,
just a wonderful, wonderful play. Very poor
yes.
in possession from Aaron Ramsey there, and yeah, Almiron getting that great shot from outside the box to take the lead.
Yeah. The another assist for Trippier, who's really, really coming on again. I think he had 4 assists this month. Um, playing very, very well as of late.
Yeah,
As the half went on, Newcastle kind of made it their own game. Couple missed chances in this one, but obviously I'll save the other one for later. But Isak had a pretty big one in the second half that he missed. Um,
yeah.
but
There was a couple in the first half. Isak got in behind, and then Elliot Anderson had a diving header. Great save by Trafford.
yeah, yep,
But like you said, pretty comfortable for Newcastle after that kind of surprising early start from Burnley.
yeah. Isak, even though he scores in this game, not a great game for him.
Hmm.
Anthony Gordon didn't really do a ton in this one, but Newcastle's midfield was good enough, and yeah. Goes in the halftime 1-0. Then obviously second half we get the Isak penalty
Yeah,
for a goal.
that tackle from Mr. Al Dakhil was god awful. I don't know that guy. I
Oh
think he kind
man.
of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the well he's a younger guy, but still
It's not looking
it's not
great.
looking that great. Their whole defense is actually pretty shit, to be honest.
Yeah,
Charlie Taylor's kind of past it. Roberts hasn't been as good as he has previously, and
yeah, and
you
he's
know,
more of an attacking fullback, anyways.
yeah, he's got to be getting forward. Um, yeah, the Al Dakiel, man, this whole game was pretty brutal.
Hmm.
Uh, so it wraps up Newcastle 2-0. Newcastle kind of cruising along now again. Um, after starting off with some tough games against Villa and City
Yeah,
and whatnot.
big Champions League victory for Newcastle
Oh,
midweek as
PSG.
well.
Dan Burn Champions League goal, Sam. That's the
Imagine,
world I want to live in.
imagine like 3 years ago saying that Newcastle would be playing Champions League football against PSG and Dan Burn would
Dortmund
be
and
scoring.
Dortmund and Milan.
So good.
Oh,
So
it's
good.
so funny. You know, I did see this one interaction, and this is why just another reason why I hate Man City. That was like it was like one of the main Man City fan accounts tweeted something like making fun of Newcastle because Newcastle fans are poking fun at Man City for beating them in the Carabao Cup,
Hmm.
and they're just like bragging about their treble, and Newcastle fans were like, look, we know what we were like 2 years ago. We just have to enjoy whatever success we get. We were like relegation candidates, and now we're on the come up. So just enjoying it as time goes on.
Well, not to
And it's like,
mention,
yeah,
I'm sure the Man City fan wasn't even a Man City fan
City fan
before they
before they sucked.
got the come
Yeah,
up.
yeah, 100.
Yes.
Let's move on. West Ham and Sheffield. West Ham and already relegated Sheffield, if you'd believe that.
Yeah, I believe it after this one, even more. This team
I
is not
think we
very
were
good.
wrong when we said Luton would get. What did we say? Luton would be under 20? Or we said like at 15 or something. I think that might be Sheffield.
Sheffield
I
just
think we were right calling it for like a historically bad team, like a bottom 5 team all time. But I think we called the wrong team.
yeah, Sheffield's like sneaky bad. At least Luton, they got that feel good factor of like they're in the Premier League and it's great for them. Sheffield was in the Premier League, just a couple years ago. They sucked. Now they're back and they still suck.
Yeah, it's like even worse though, because even like when, you know, like a team like Watford will go down and come up, and then they're like, they suck still, but they're like at least like semi-watchable at times, and
They
have
have
one or
their
two guys
moments.
that are okay. Yeah, that I don't know when we get Sheffield's moment this year.
I think we
A
might have
Cam
had yeah,
Archer like brace.
yeah, I think we had it. I think that was it.
um, yeah. So in this one, early on, West Ham. I tell you what, Shufall able to really kind of get going and attack these days. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, he's gonna have
David
a
Moyes,
resurgence.
David Moyes really getting them going, and Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen is back, Sam. Back and better than ever.
Yes, sir. I mean, that first goal was just like so good. That was some champagne football from West Ham, as you would say.
Yes. Uh, I saw something that Bowen wants like a new contract where his like release clause was like 50 mil or something like that, and I don't. I you might as well just like hand in a transfer request if you want a contract that if you're that good and you want a release clause that low.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah, the Bowen and Ward-Prowse and Paqueta. Paqueta not really good in this game, but those three right now are kind of going forward, looking.
Hmm.
And Aguirre even looked like okay in this one, although it's Sheffield.
It is Sheffield.
It's a step up from looking super shaky.
Yeah. It's yeah, he didn't give away a penalty.
It's Sheffield,
It's
lads.
Sheffield lads.
uh, yeah, and obviously West Ham kind of respond right after too with the Sushek goal.
Yeah.
Antonio on the assist.
Yeah, some classic Sheffield trying to play out of the back, cuz
That was amazing.
cuz why not? Why not? Good club. Good club. Second half, more of the same.
I kind of want to see more of Kudus, but their lineup that Moyes has for the Premier League right now is just rolling, so it's like
Yeah.
you don't really want to mess with it.
Right.
I think you'll definitely see more of Kudus and Mavropanos as the year goes on.
Mhm.
Although it's hard to say if Aguirre starts playing better again, it's like when does he get in? You'd have to bank on Zuma getting hurt or Zuma falling out of form, so maybe we won't see Mavropanos like a ton.
Well,
Anything else
it's a
kind
long
of stand
season.
out? Yeah, true, true. Anything else really stand out in your mind in this one?
No, not really. Sheffield's pretty
Okay.
bad.
The only guy that I can get behind is Gus Hammer, aka Gustavo Amer.
Yes.
Everyone else, I could kind of squint and see the McAtee guy be like maybe
Yes.
okay on like a
Yes.
different team, but not on this team where he has no help.
I
It's kind of
agree.
like Billy Gilmore on Norwich, where it's like, yeah, it's hard to see, but no one's with him, so it sucks.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean this was a game. This was in
It
fact a
it
game.
was indeed a game. All right.
You ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on to greener
One of the big
pastures.
ones. Yeah.
A wonderful
Well,
day. It always brings
a
me
good meal.
joy when Man City lose their first game of the season.
Normally it's against Tottenham though.
That's true. Not
Not in this
today.
case.
Not today. This one, the unexpected matchup, going against the steaming cold Wolves. Ice cold.
Who just drew with Luton and had to time waste against Luton.
Oh, it was hilarious watching this game. Mateus Nunes getting booed at every single touch, taken off at halftime,
Which is awesome.
which was awesome. He had the counter effect of riling up the Wolves fans.
Yeah, they shouldn't have played him, but no Pep in this one, obviously, as we know. Um, yeah, I mean, it starts off with a goal pretty early. I mean, let's say Man City had some solid chances in the first like 5-10 minutes, and you're like, oh boy,
Oh yeah.
this is gonna be bad because
Yep.
they had some chances to go just wide. But it's Wolves who get the goal. Um, who did Neto take on? Ake? He just dusted him. Just dusted Ake down the wing and then squared the ball straight across, and it went right off Ruben Dias and in the net.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. I can't remember if it was Ake or Akanji, but absolutely fantastic run. Neto, he looks better when he has no one to work with, honestly, when he's just like him against the world.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, let me run, let me dribble in space.
Yeah, he heard the Premiership Perusa podcast. He heard Hank doubted him.
Yeah, finally, I shouted his name for 3 years, saying this will be his year, and then he never did, and we gave up. And you know what? Now he's popping off.
He is popping off.
But I did put in the chat today. I was like, he's got to do it for more than a month. Okay, anyone can have a good month.
That's true.
He's got to do it for more than that.
That's true.
Which brought me to look up guys who won Player of the Month that were random guys. I think the worst guy I saw was Adam Lafondra. Do you remember that guy on Reading? This is like 10 years ago.
Vaguely.
I think he had like 8 goals on the year, and 6 of them came in like 1 month.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but Nunes subbed off at half, like you said, for Oscar Bob,
Oscar Bob.
who's not even. Well, I guess he's a prospect, but he is like 20. I'm pretty sure. I think he's like 20 or 21.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, the Norwegian.
For the first.
You don't expect anything
Yeah.
out of him, but yet here he is.
Yeah, honestly, City looked really poor in attack. They just kind of had nothing going. They were really lacking. I thought Doku had a pretty poor game. Foden didn't really do much. Alvarez getting the goal later on, but they looked very stagnant. I don't know. They weren't really getting Holland into the game like at all.
Wait, this is a game where you miss a guy like Gindogan who will just kind of step up and do something when no one else will.
Yeah.
The Kovacic to Gindogan drop off, I think, is going to be a lot greater than people realize. Just because, not saying Kovacic is bad, he's just a different style of player. He just is.
Yeah.
He's not a direct guy. He's more side to side, and he spreads it to his teammates for them to create. But it's Sam. We might have to apologize. It might just be Julian Alvarez. He might just be the guy. He might just be good.
Yeah, he's stepped up in De Bruyne's absence, this time scoring an excellent free kick from the edge of the box to draw a level here. And then later on, City putting on some more pressure. Dawson had a big clearance.
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty decent game today, especially out of all the Wolves guys. He was kind of the main one. That kind of stood out.
And then it's Wolves picking up the second goal, this time on the counterattack. City just kind of failing to clear their lines, leading to a chance, falling to Wang Hee-chan, who takes it and runs with it and takes the lead. The unexpected 2 goals for Wolves over City. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can't. No, I can't actually believe it. It's craziness.
Watching this game, I was watching Doku, and I felt like he reminded me of Grealish when he first came to City, and was a little more like individual
I think we talked
focused.
about that, where he's kind of like an Adama Traore, where he just is like, obviously he's supposed to be good at dribbling, but like he only dribbles, and it's like, okay, I get that's your party trick, but you're gonna have to fit into this somehow, and you use that sparingly to create when your team just needs something out of nothing. But yet he couldn't really create something out of nothing in this one.
Yeah, and I felt like this game was just dying for Grealish.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But instead we got Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips coming
And
on.
we got Grealish with like 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Who the hell's Man City's assistant guy? I don't think this guy should be making selections for a bit.
Well, you got to imagine that Pep was probably calling the shots, right?
You would think, but with these subs, maybe not.
Yeah.
And the whole Phil Foden, obviously Foden scored in the Champions League this midweek, but it's like really not going for him right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, I
At
think they
least in
just
the
don't
Premier
really
League.
have anyone else at the moment to fill in that spot.
Yeah. Hard. They just don't have a true number 10, to say the least.
Yeah.
Finishes 2-1. Amazing result for Wolves. Real good performance too. Man City, super lackluster. You didn't even really say Erling Haaland's name. He was neutralized for the most part.
Yeah. After like the
I mean,
first 15 minutes, you
and it really
didn't
didn't
hear
matter
anything.
that Wolves midfield was so bad because they didn't have to do anything because Man City had no edge to their attack.
Mhm.
Man, Wolves the midfield just had to kind of be out there
Yeah.
and just kind of move around a little bit.
Yeah. A Gary O'Neill masterclass. Meanwhile, Bournemouth getting absolutely trounced. You love to see it. Gary O'Neill, go on, lad.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the biggest controversial match of the week: Tottenham versus
Are they
Liverpool.
replaying this one?
Shouts for the replay. That is for sure.
Oh my God. Not even real. Not even real. Yeah, I mean, this game, insane game.
It was like a fever dream of a game, really.
It really was. It really, really was.
It was like if AI generated a Premier League game and then you came up with
Said
this.
make it the most insane, yeah, make it the most insane game possible. This is kind of what would happen.
Yeah.
The first big moment, obviously Curtis Jones red card, Sam.
Yeah, the ball, getting the ball and then the foot rolling over the ball onto the leg.
Was the Diaz thing before that?
That was after.
That was after.
It
Okay.
was about 9 minutes after, yeah.
My notes are all over the place on this game.
Yeah, it was just kind of like there was a early double save from Vicario, and then Tottenham were just kind of in control. And then, like you said, this big moment, the first controversial moment of the match. Curtis Jones getting sent off, going into the tackle, foot goes over the ball and on to the ankle. I feel like it wasn't really a red card worthy tackle, and that seems to kind of be the general consensus, but I did see some people who thought it was a red card.
This is quite literally the Malagusto red card from last game, if not a little more justifiable because he got a slightly less of the ball, but he gets so much of the ball, Sam.
He does get a lot of the ball. I mean,
And it
what
slips
can you
right
really
over the
do?
top of it.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. That's the point. Especially when the guy's running towards the ball
Mhm.
behind him. I just don't think it's a red. I don't. I simply do not.
And you know what I really hate is the VAR trend of where they'll just show like a freeze
Show
frame.
this shot. That's what they did on the Malagusto one for Chelsea last week. It's like, what are you doing? Why is it one single shot?
Yeah, you definitely need to add in the full context, and even just slowing it down too, I feel like also
It's like
makes it worse.
here's the spikes right on the guy's shin.
Yeah.
Is this a red? It's like, I suppose, but out of context, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, if you look at that still image in a vacuum, you're like, yeah, that's high and dangerous, but when you look at it with the context of the foot going over the ball, you can't really do anything about that. But,
No.
But yeah, anyways, the call stands there, red card for Curtis Jones, and then just an absolute farce of the whole VAR system.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
words can't even
You can't describe
how
the
atrocious.
malfunction that occurred.
Yeah.
The absolute major malfunction
Yeah.
that went down.
So Luis Diaz scoring on the counter initially ruled offside after scoring the goal. It looked onside just from first viewing. That's how onside he was. It was like, okay, well, he looked onside, but they blew it anyways. They take a review, and then there's just a huge miscommunication that goes on. I urge everyone to go online and listen to the audio. They have the audio with the video of the VAR referees talking about it, and basically there was a miscommunication saying like, oh yes, the I forget what's their terminology they call it. They say like check. They say check complete.
Check complete. Yeah.
So they're like,
Check
oh
complete.
yeah, he's not offside. Check complete. And so what that meant to them was that check complete, the call on the field was correct, and that he was offside. And then they're bringing it up to Mr. Darren England, aka Daz, and they're like, "Are you happy with this? That they're playing on and they didn't award a goal?" And he's like, "Well, they started playing, so nothing we could
Yeah.
do about it."
It's like there's no way you couldn't have immediately blown it down right then and there and said no.
There were so many times
because nothing happened.
Yeah.
Liverpool had the ball and were in midfield and going towards Tottenham's defensive third. Like you couldn't have stopped it and said, actually no, we got it wrong. It was a goal.
Like, I understand the thought process of like, okay, the game started, like, we can't do anything now, but like for something as crystal clear, he was onside. That should have been a goal. There was a miscommunication. We meant for it to be ruled a goal. You got to stop the game. You got to stop the game and award the goal. It's absolute farcical.
Zero sense
From VAR.
Yeah, it seems like, quite frankly, borderline match fixing.
Yeah, if there was ever match fixing, you got to look at this one. Know. And not to mention, I don't know if you heard about the whole controversy of there were like 3 refs on this crew that were reffing in like a Saudi game or something like 24 hours before.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so people
I just know
upset
that now
with that.
Darren England can't do Liverpool games, and it's like that's kind of dumb because how many times does Paul Tierney mess up Arsenal games, Sam?
Oh my God! Don't get me going on Paul Tierney.
How many times just in the last like 3 years has Anthony Taylor screwed over Chelsea?
Yeah, if you have a referee that can't officiate for a specific team, they shouldn't be able to officiate for any team.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just
he honestly should have been fired.
The Premier League just keeps digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper with these decisions that they make these days. It's just bad.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah. He should have been immediately fired after that.
Yeah.
Just insane. I mean, everyone was telling him he was wrong. And he just insisted.
Everyone was, even in the tone in their voice, they're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he thought it was called a goal on the field. It doesn't, but everyone... I don't know how you could mess it up.
And they even had the like PGMOL hub that was like communicating with him. And, and that's like your boss being like, it's wrong. You got to stop the game. And he's like, nope, can't do it. Insane.
Insanity.
Insane. But anyways, game goes on. Of course, what happens? Tottenham score immediately after. James Maddison, perfect ball to Richarlison. Plays a square ball to Son. The Liverpool fans are absolutely going insane. It was super weird because everyone's like, that should have been goal, and then you have this happen, and it's just like
it's the ultimate where you get kind of screwed over, and you're like, oh my gosh, well now it's just over. It's like it's snowballing on you.
Yeah.
But Sam, Cody Gakpo gets a goal right before half, and then immediately gets hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some good action before halftime. Gakpo scoring the equalizer on the turn there. Then there was a big chance for Diaz. Perfect ball coming in from Salah, but missed that chance. Big missed chance there going into halftime. Goes into halftime 1-1. Second half, obviously. You got Tottenham in control, up a man.
We got Jota subbed on for Gakpo, which is massive because of what Jota does.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, Jota at one point gets a yellow card, and then he gets shown was it? I wasn't sure if it was a second yellow card or if it was just a straight red.
I think it was a second yellow. I'm like 99%
Because
sure it was
didn't
the
they
second yellow. Let me look.
didn't they review it?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
it was a second yellow, which is like I don't. Can you
Yes,
review
yes, it
second
was.
yellows?
I thought you could. Because they just did it for, what's his name, a couple weeks ago for Burnley. Lyle Foster.
Yeah, for some
Already on
reason
it.
I thought you couldn't review second yellows, which I mean, obviously you should be able to,
Yes.
because it could change the game. But yeah, the first tackle, the first yellow card he got was very, very soft,
Soft, yeah.
very minuscule contact there. Second one, which was like a minute later, more
Which is
worthy
dumb.
of a yellow card.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
It was
Couldn't
very
have
dumb.
done it.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
the icing on the cake, 90 plus 6. Joel Matip turns in Pedro Porro's cross for an own goal, just to seal the deal. Tottenham.
It was a great finish.
It was a great finish. It must be said. Stick 'em up top. Liverpool, come on.
So, finishes 2-1 Tottenham. Again, proving it's the year of Tottenham.
It sure is.
All the bounces going their way. Also, they get these lucky calls more often than not. For some reason, go Tottenham's way. It's not like Tottenham ever gets screwed over by a referee decision that I can remember.
Yeah. I find it kind of funny, though, the Liverpool fans complaining. Obviously, it's justified in this case, but it is funny because there was a good couple of years where they were the team receiving the favorable calls. I mean, we didn't call them Liverpool for nothing.
They literally got to win a Carabao Cup because Lukaku scored and they reviewed it and his arm was offside.
Yeah.
His arm. You can't score with your arm. That doesn't matter. His arm was offside, but they called it in favor of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Klopp
Terrible.
coming out after the game and saying that there should be a replay is I can't put into words the levels of like cope.
It's Pete Klopp.
It's unbelievable. Who says a replay? What do you mean? That's never gonna happen.
Yeah. And he knows that would never happen.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that would
Just-
never happen. Because that would set a precedent, which
You can't have it.
you can't have.
Can't have it. No. It's like I think the best tweet I saw about it was if this wasn't replayed, then nothing can be replayed. It was the COVID year. Do you remember when Villa and Sheffield played? It was the 1 year Sheffield
goal
was
line.
decent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if this game can't be replayed, then no game should ever be replayed.
And that had
this
huge
literally kept Villa
implications.
up. Yeah, it kept Villa up. They would have been relegated if they would have conceded that. So, yeah, it's. What are you gonna do, Klopp? Klopp being a big moaner. I don't feel bad for Liverpool, but it's inexcusable the reffing by the Premier League on that one. Moving on,
Yes, sir. Sunday's
we have
lone game.
Forest and Brentford. We have Forest and Brentford. I tell you what, Sam, I don't really remember what happened much in the first half of this one. I'm gonna be honest. Second half, especially early second half, a whole lot better. Some actual entertaining football. But
Yeah,
first half,
Yeah,
what
first
stuck out
half,
in your
I mean,
mind?
there was that early goal that Awonye scored, but was
Yeah,
very clearly offside. But apparently, there's not any clear offsides these
no.
days. Clear onsides, offsides. Forest had a lot of possession, and then Brentford
They
kind of
saved the
grew
good
into the game.
VAR refs for Brentford Forest.
Yes, exactly. There was kind of like one chance late on. Janelt had a deflected shot saved. Then Wisa couldn't get a toe on the ball for a tap-in.
I guess the main thing too that happened was Niakate getting a yellow in the first, and then obviously in the second he gets his second yellow.
Yeah,
So
true.
That's a big moment. But goes to halftime 0-0. Second half, as I mentioned, Niakate. I wouldn't really say it was like on a break. It's kind of just like in midfield, little transition play, and he just kind of took him out from behind. And it's like on a yellow, my guy, you really risk
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, we also missed the missed call where Matt Turner took out Wisa.
oh yeah, he took him out. What was that?
That
He
was,
just like completely whiffed, and he's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna take him out here.
and I don't know how that was missed either. I mean, that was a clear foul. I think partially it kind of came down to Wisa didn't protest enough.
Yeah, it's because he's a high character guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Da, 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 da.
Anyways, immediately after Niakate sent off, Brentford score on the ensuing free kick through
Yes.
Norgard's header. That's peak Brentford for you
Yeah,
right there.
Jensen and Norgard, that's stereotypical, if you will.
Yeah, but Forrest grabbed the equalizer. Toffolo crosses to Hank Sky Dominguez.
Yes, I said I needed to see something from him this game. I was moved. He at least looked pretty decent.
Yeah,
And it's not really what you expect from him all the time, but he looked pretty good in this game, and then he had this on top of it. So
yeah, it was
hey,
kind of weird. He had the looping header, and then Flecken looked like he was stuck in mud when he jumped.
yeah, that was a
World's
very
worst
unathletic
vertical.
play. Yeah, I think it's safe to say David Raya makes that save.
Yeah, I think so. After that, there was a couple big chances. Gibbs White had a vital tackle on Mbumo.
That was
Laid
huge. That
on.
chase down.
Yeah, that was awesome. Gibbs White, what a lad. Don't
Yeah,
like seeing him on the bench.
no.
And then there was a late chance. Murillo clearing an attempt from Olakibe, Alakabi, however you say that, off the line.
Don't worry. The announcer in this game couldn't even say Murillo. He just said Murillo.
Murillo. That's peak British.
Oh yeah, that Murillo lad. Yeah, he's good. He's a proper footballer.
Overall, I think fair result. 1-1.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that really stood out from either side that really moved me in one direction or another that said, you know what, this team deserved to win.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this next game moved me in unparalleled ways.
Moved you rapidly.
Oh my gosh.
You know why? Because we got Ukraine Bolt on the score
Bruh.
sheet.
Bruh, there's a hole in the ozone layer.
Oh,
When that happens, unbelievable.
you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it.
You kind of do for that guy because you don't really hear much for him. I don't. Again, none of us were high when Chelsea signed him, or even if Arsenal paid money for him. I think we'd have been like, eh. But I don't know. I think it's just because he doesn't talk and you don't really know what he does.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, I kind of feel bad for this guy.
Yeah, you do. And not to mention, he has got memed on to death.
Yeah, he's by everyone.
And it's like,
By
what did he do to
everyone.
deserve this? Nothing. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
it's
came
not
to a
his
terrible
fault
Chelsea
that
team,
Todd Bowley
and he
is
like.
insane.
Not to mention, he just comes into a Chelsea team and they play him for like 15-minute stretches.
Yeah,
So they're like, he has 25 games without a goal, and it's like, how many match minutes though? Because he'll just play like 10 minutes.
exactly.
But let's get to it. Chelsea, Fulham. Chelsea looking pretty solid in attack early. I think my main thing with Chelsea is that their defense actually looks pretty decently organized. I know that this year they haven't really given up a ton, but it just feels a lot easier with Disasi and Colwell. They feel a lot more comfortable. Chelsea really have a weapon with Colwell kind of playing balls up, but the main story had to be that their midfield actually looked real good with Fernandez, Caicedo, and Gallagher. Gallagher actually kind of not really playing like Palace Gallagher, but he's at least playing at that level. Different style, but at that level. And obviously, Chelsea, they get one little break. Colwell dinks a ball over Jop. Like, I guess, didn't even really jump. Or he jumped too soon, kind of. I felt like he could have easily have had it, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
But it was over his head. Falls to Mudryk. Mudryk between Leno's legs for his first goal.
Absolute wonderful.
shortly after, Fulham playing around with it in the back, just losing control. Tim Ream put in a tough spot, has to clear it. Unfortunately, Broya had his foot sticking right there, goes off his foot and in the net. 2-0 in the span of 80 seconds, Sam.
Chelsea absolutely flying. What a world.
Yes. Not a world that Sam wants to be in. Not a world that most people want to be in. Even if it's two kind of
Yeah,
goals.
I was very
After
surprised
that,
to see the Broja start.
well, Jackson, too many yellows. So
That's true.
what do you have, 5 yellows in 6 games?
And they were
How's
like
that
all
even
for
happen?
dissent.
Yeah, it's like he's standing in front of someone when they're trying to take a free kick.
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, on the other hand, you got Fulham who continue to roll out Raul Jimenez.
Yes. They're rolling out these guys like Castagna and Jimenez, and I was moved by Dominguez. I was not moved by Fulham in this game.
Mm-mm.
They should just force feed Harry Wilson, really.
Yes.
Second half does get better for Fulham, but I thought Cucurella actually played real well for Chelsea too. Honestly, Chelsea looked a whole lot better than Fulham. It was very kind of odd to see. Cole Palmer playing on the right instead of Sterling. Cole Palmer is kind of what they need as like a 10, but yet he kind of drifts out wide and he facilitates the ball. So I might have been wrong on that one, Sam. That might have been Chelsea's like one of their 2 good signings.
Imagine waking up and seeing a front three of Mudryk, Broja, and Cole Palmer.
Yeah. And you
And you get cooked.
and you get cooked. And then you got Bobby Sanchez out here who's still hasn't had a full Bobby Sanchez moment yet.
Not
I'm
yet.
waiting on.
It's
It's
coming.
not it's yeah, especially since Chelsea fans are like really like, how could Brighton have sold Bobby Sanchez to us for 20 mil? And it's like, yes, he's been very good so far, especially just pure shot stopping
Yes, which
and
is
his
his
distribution.
strong suit.
Yeah, and his distribution's been good, which is always good, but his just like error proneness is like that just pops up and you're like, oh my god.
There will be a corner where he comes out and flaps at it and then gives up a goal because of it.
It also doesn't help that I don't know if you watched. We'll just touch on it for like 2 seconds, but Kepa in the Champions League literally did that, and Chelsea fans were like, "Yeah, thank God we got Bobby Sanchez."
He would never. He would
Yes.
never.
Until 2 weeks from now, when he doesn't, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" Goes in halftime 2-0. Second half, Chelsea kind of looking to play not necessarily more on the counter, but they were more susceptible to kind of just sit back and absorb pressure. And Fulham at least looked pretty decent trying to break Chelsea down. Like I said, Wilson looked all right. He kind of got subbed off early though. And then as soon as like Kearney came on and stuff, and Iwobi looked pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Vinicius with like a slap clothesline thing on Thiago Silva. I don't know what that was. I wouldn't say it was like so malicious he should have got it red, but also it's like I don't know what that was. Because it was definitely like on purpose, but it was very light.
Not something you see every day.
No, it's very weird. Anything else you want to say about the second half, Sam? Oh, Matson got subbed on for Chelsea and hit the post. That's about it. That's all that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Chelsea, they made it happen.
They finally won.
In unexpected fashion.
Yes. And then we got one more game. Burnley Luton, Sam.
Ooh, a real treat. A real treat to cap off the week.
It was
a good
more
game.
exciting than I thought. Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be absolute cheeks. And I tell you what, it wasn't too terrible.
Yes.
Especially early, Luton was kind of piling it on in the first like 15
They
or
sure
like two
were.
or three chances, and then after that, Burnley for the next like 15-20 minutes were absolutely cooking.
Yeah, there was a spell where Burnley just had like a whole bunch of chances where they're like,
Yeah.
all right, we're popping shots.
Yeah, they're ripping shots, they're swinging balls in like crazy, but yeah, it was very much game of flow early for Luton, and then it went to Burnley.
Yeah,
A goal right.
I swear Amdouni is like the ultimate chance guy and never finishes his chances.
Yeah, I agree. Although that might be James Gardner too.
Well, I suppose.
He's Abduni's the attacking version of him, whereas Gardner's the midfield. We need to find a defender then who's like
Yeah.
who's those guys who just gets a bunch of chances and then does nothing. Um, right before half, Lyle Foster.
Did I not call a Lyle Foster goal? I feel like I
I
called
think
a Lyle Foster goal.
I think you called at least a goal, if not a brace. I don't remember which one, but I think you for sure
Ah,
called that he would score.
yeah, I might have said
It just
brace.
depends how many. Um, yeah, so he gets a goal. Sander Berge assist. Kind of a weird goal.
It was
The
pretty poor
little
defending
roller.
from Lockyer.
Yeah, yeah, the little roll at the near post, and it didn't even really like hit the net, like trickled off the net, back net, pretty soft. But goes in halftime 1-0. Second half it wasn't as good, Sam. Wasn't quite as good.
Well, you know, the thing about the second half, I swear to Luton, they had so many set pieces, and they were coming close. It was like, okay, it smells like they're gonna score from one of these. I mean, they ended up not scoring from a set piece, but they did get a goal out of Bio after the head down from Burke, 83rd minute. Big equalizer. Rob Edwards was going absolutely nutty.
Mm-hmm.
He thought they'd
Yeah, that
secured the
was
point.
the turn by Adebayo. Very nice.
Hmm.
Very nice. Unfortunately, I didn't even know Burnley. I don't remember them having him, but Jakob Brun Larson, from Connor Roberts, immediate response. We were talking about Connor Roberts needs to be a little more attacking earlier in the podcast, Sam, and he's able to get an assist on this one.
Yeah, gets the assist, but the heavy lifting done by Mr. Brun Larson, doing his best Arjen Robben impression,
Yeah, well
cutting in
cut
from the
in,
right and
low,
then just
low
hitting the
curler.
curler.
Yes.
I mean, that there has to be like no better feeling to do that. Cut inside, hit the beautiful curler for the freaking game winner. That's got to be absolute
Yeah.
euphoria.
Little Yarmolenko sauce out there,
Yarmolenko
if you
Hinch
will.
guy.
West Ham's finest. Um, finishes 2-1. Burnley first win of the year. Big ups to Burnley getting their first win.
Big ups to the
So
man in the hat and blazer.
the hat blazer man. You look at the table, Sam. Because 7 games, it's not nothing. It's at least worth looking at. You have City at 18, Tottenham and Arsenal at 17, and Liverpool at 16. Then as you go down from 20 up, you have Sheffield, Bournemouth, Burnley, but you have Luton, Burnley, and Everton all at 4 points.
Hmm.
Do you think there's a world in which Wolves and right now it's Wolves and Brentford in 14th to 15th, and even Fulham, as you go up, but do you think there's a world where that's kind of the cutoff is after Wolves, or you think Wolves will still be kind of in a dogfight with those teams, like Everton,
Well,
Luton, and Burnley?
you
I feel
know,
like there might be enough quality to separate them.
that's
Not by
kind of where
much,
I
only
am.
by like 4 or 5 points, but
Hmm.
that's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
That's enough of a gap.
It numbers wise, it's not much, but there's just kind of that little
It's
X
kind of when
factor
like
pushing them
Palace
over
used
the
to hang
edge.
around like 13th, 14th every single year, and you're like, I guess they're close to relegation, but you're like, but they were definitely better than the
Yeah.
teams that went down.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
I
just
think
wanted
that
to run that
definitely
past
feels
you.
like the cutoff, and that's way different than last season because we were so far into last season and we're like, who knows who is going to get relegated? It could be like any of
Yeah.
these like 8 teams at this
Yes.
point, but it looks like early on, I mean, through 7, we got our top 5 contenders, you know,
Not to
5
mention
maybe 6.
I mean, I would, even though Luton is up out of relegation zone right now, I would bet my life that it's Sheffield and Luton going down for sure.
I don't know if I'd
You
say
think
it.
Luton's frisky enough?
They got the heart. They got the dog in them. If
They
anything,
got
I'd
that
say
dog in them.
based on the first 7 games,
Or Sheffield's.
Bournemouth. Yeah,
And Bournemouth could too.
other than Sheffield.
I won't rule them out. We thought they had high aspirations. That could be the one prediction. We're always wrong about one of our big predictions. We hit like 4 out of 5. We hit it like an 80% rate, and the one we whiff on is like really bad. It could be Bournemouth. We could have just whiffed on him because Irola is just not the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
It's early.
Yes. Let's move on. Predictions for next week, Sam.
Yes.
Starting off, Luton. They host Spurs.
Oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Luton picking up the dub against the red hot Tottenham.
Could happen.
Is
Could very well
is
happen.
Tottenham gonna score like a 98th minute winner against Luton?
Yeah, and it's gonna be like Vicario or something. It's not even gonna be. It's just gonna be like most made up, non-believable thing possible.
Yeah.
No, I would imagine that Tottenham they cook in this game, if I had to guess. Even though Luton can kind of hold their own form and stuff like that, I would suspect Tottenham win. We'll say 3-1.
I'm gonna say 2-1, and it'll be a little spicy.
Okay. Burnley, Chelsea at Turf Moor. What are you looking for in this game?
Do we have false confidence in Chelsea now, or are they the real deal?
Well, they've won just purely 2 matches in a row where they beat Brighton in the cup and now they beat Fulham. But I told you last week, and I've been telling you for a bit, Fulham are worse than they're leading on to be.
I agree.
They're worse than they're leading on to be.
I mean,
So
they got
I'm not
freaking
too
Raul
impressed with
Jimenez in
Chelsea.
every game.
I'm just worried that with these bad teams, Sam, when they win a game, it's just going to be like a let off the next game. I don't feel like it's like they're just going to start building momentum.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Is it the real deal, or is it? I mean, we've seen this before with Chelsea.
Oh, I was talking about Burnley.
Oh, Burnley. Okay.
Yeah, like with Luton, you would think, oh, they beat Everton, they'll go on to they have a home game against Burnley, that's winnable. No, they crap their pants. Burnley just got their first win. It's like, okay, well maybe they're at home now. Chelsea, who knows? Maybe I'll say a 1-1 draw, but I think I'll be kicking myself because I think Chelsea's gonna win.
I am going to say a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Everton, Bournemouth.
Well, this is a real six-pointer.
Yeah, it's the Josh King derby.
The Josh King derby. You don't hear that one much.
So true. What are you looking at in this one?
Uh,
Are you gonna have some music playing since Goodison's just gonna be quiet because Bournemouth's just gonna be holding the ball the whole time and like kind of doing nothing?
yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one. Two teams that don't really impress me so far this season in terms of their play style. But I think Everton at home, I think they'll pick up a win. I think 2-0 Everton.
All right, just to be different, I'm gonna say Bournemouth 2-1. I would just like to say before we move on, they've played 12 games in total. Each have 5 wins, and there's been 2 draws. It's kind of a weird split.
Very even.
Yes. Yeah, I'll go 2-1 Bournemouth just to be different. Fulham Sheffield. This game's gonna suck.
This game is gonna suck.
I don't think this game will be like broadcast in like a few countries. Like it's gonna be banned.
It should be. I think this
They're gonna.
this has
if
to
you're
be a
sh-
0-0.
Yeah, unless Vinicius gets subbed on for Mr. Raul Jimenez and gets a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anything else. Any other way
I
about
feel
it.
like they should start Iwobi too. I don't know
Yeah,
what the
I think
holdup
they
is
might.
on that.
He came on and they looked a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I'll go with a. I guess I'll go with a 1-0 Fulham victory just to be different because I do think it'll be 0-0 as well. But There's no fun in picking the same thing over and over because we're just so, big brain, mega mind out here.
That we are.
Man U Brentford on USA because every time Man U play, they're on USA.
Yeah, you've made a good point. Why is Man U always on USA?
It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Where's Chelsea Burnley? That's a better game. Even Everton Bournemouth has the potential to be a better game. Man U Brentford, it's just going to be Brentford grinding Man U down in terms of on defense, whereas Man U have the ball. I mean, the only thing I guess I could say would be that Brentford does better against Man U, and it's at the Georgia Tech Community Stadium. But I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw in this one. I think Man U's gonna slip up. No, 2-2 draw. 2-2 draw.
I think United will pull out a win. I think they'll go 2-1. Right now, not big on Brentford. Not in the best
I'm
of
not
form
either.
right now.
They're 1-4 and 2, Sam.
It's not good.
Yeah, just kind of very odd to say the least. This is the way to start the year, and I think we did underestimate the losing Raya, and going to Flecken.
Yeah, it's
Sure,
been a
it's cheaper,
downgrade.
but it's bad to say the least. They went from a top 3 keeper last year to like a guy who's definitely like bottom 5 so far.
Mm-hmm.
Palace Nottingham Forest. This is the kind of game I want on NBC. This rustles my jimmies in a good way, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. This is a real thinker,
Not a stinker, a thinker.
not a stinker.
Mitch Think, if
Mitch,
you know what that means.
Mitch Think. Crystal Palace coming
The
off that
split.
big win.
Just know the split on this is they've played 6 times in the Premier League, and Forest has won 3, and there's been 3 draws. Palace has never won.
Interesting. Bit of a boat.
Palace looking fantastic. So much out of their defense right now. Forest hit or miss at times, especially with their attack.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say what to fully expect in this one, but Selhurst under the lights, Sammy.
Yes, sir.
I typically like that.
Oh yeah.
I'll go 2-1 Palace.
I'm gonna say a grind out 1-0 from Palace.
Oh no, dude! I want the scores. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
I can see it.
Let's see here. Sunday, Brighton, Liverpool.
2 teams that are not happy with their previous results coming into this one. I think this could be a heated match.
They had last year was the 3-3 game, which was their first game with De Zerbi, and the Trossard had his hat trick. Oh no, that was at Liverpool. That was at Liverpool. The other one was Brighton 3-0.
Yeah, Brighton 3-0 at the Amex.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But Brighton hasn't been playing that well lately. They really haven't.
Yeah.
They lost to Chelsea in the cup, got smashed by Villa. I think they drew with Marseille today.
Yes.
I don't know. They might have won.
They did draw.
They did draw. I don't know. Something a little off by them. It doesn't feel like a get right game is against Liverpool of all teams. I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will come out in this one. I'm gonna say a 3-0 Liverpool. I think they look good in this one.
A smashing, a drubbing, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that bold. West Ham Newcastle on USA.
Newcastle kind of feels like a USA team now.
Yeah, they're getting there. It's like who's ever 4th or 5th best team. They're like, let's put these guys on.
Yeah.
West Ham have been killing it. Newcastle have too. But I feel good about Newcastle, even though it's at the London Stadium. I'm gonna go Newcastle 2-1.
Yeah, I do like what Newcastle's
I could easily
coming
see
off.
West Ham. I could easily see West Ham winning this, but have faith in Newcastle. I'm sticking with my pick
I was thinking a
earlier
2-2
this year. I
draw.
believe it. I like that call. That's a good call. Wolves Villa,
Ooh,
little derby
little
action.
derby, little Midlands derby. Wolves coming off that big win.
The split is 6-5-5 in favor of Wolves in 16 games. Yeah, and Wolves, it's one of those teams too where I was talking about how like bad teams this year will win and then they just completely fall off. It's like they celebrate too hard or something. There's a chance where Wolves do that, but Villa on the road are just not good.
That
Not
is
like
true.
bad, but it's just not good. They're so good at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say. Man, you want to say Villa, but yeah, I'm gonna say. You know what? I'll say 3-1 Villa.
All right, there you go. Last but not least, Sam, the last match before Arsenal Man City.
What? I think you cut out a little bit. You said last match before a
I did I said international break.
international break. That's what I figured you said, but for some reason the international break they like
Didn't even
cut
get it
off
out
your
of my mouth.
feed.
I didn't want to say it, Sam. Now
Yeah,
you made me enunciate my
you
words.
uttered the words international
International
break.
break. Terrible.
Disgusting.
Disgusting, absolutely. Arsenal City, what are you looking for, Sam?
Well, it sounds like Saka might be a miss on this one.
That's brutal. Just to play him against Law?
Yeah,
Just to lose against Law?
yeah, exactly. Martinelli, question marks over him. Kind of feels like he might be missing this one as well. Interesting to see Thomas Partey back in the fold if he starts this game, which I don't know. If he plays in midfield, fine, but if they try and play that right back shit again, then don't bother.
Then don't bother, bruh.
Yeah, City obviously coming off the loss against Wolves, but I still feel confident in City to get the job done. Just feel like Arsenal, we talked about this, not
What is
firing
Pep
on
being
all
back too?
cylinders. Pep being back,
Pep
yeah.
being back. I'm gonna go with a 2-2 draw. No, 1-1 draw. I think Arsenal aren't really clicking fully, but they're not bad. City are also not fully clicking, but all it takes is just Holland to pop up out of nowhere and score, and then it's just over. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a 3-1 Man City with a Holland brace.
It is. You know what sucks for you too is that Wolves beat Man City. Now they have like reason to be pissed about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my gosh. Not to mention they're back to winning ways after that Champions League win.
Very
So,
true.
yep. All right. Did you have a prediction? I don't think you had a prediction.
Yeah, I can't say that my prediction is Holland scoring a brace. That's a little
Nah, yeah.
unfair.
That's kind of cheesing out of here. Let's let me pick a game and I'll have you
Okay.
give me one.
Sure.
Give me something about West Ham Newcastle.
West Ham Newcastle. I think it'll be a battle of the set piece takers. I think James Ward-Prowse gets a goal.
And
Trippier
Trippier?
gets a goal.
Oh, I like that one. That might be my favorite prediction you've ever made. Just the walk-off set pieces.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, lads.
Keep on perusing.
Adios, mis amigos.